Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Juju coming at you again with another new video for you today. And guess what? We're going to be reacting to a brand new trailer, and that's because it's Star Wars Celebration, which means we are getting a lot of information on the Star Wars universe as a whole. We've been waiting for a Star Wars trailer forever, so we finally got one, Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. And it's about damn time because it's freaking April. Star Wars Episode 9 comes out in December. And I'm just surprised it really took this long for a trailer to come out. And I don't know what was holding them back. Maybe they were just waiting specifically for the celebration to kind of generate some hype. But it's Star Wars. You already got a lot of people hyped for this movie. The Star Wars fatigue hasn't set in yet. Although in the next couple of years, it probably will, you know, with the Disney Plus Mandalorian shows coming out. And then the guys who do Game of Thrones are also doing a Star Wars show as well. So maybe it might set in. And not even thinking about the spinoffs as well. There's going to be movie spinoffs, kind of like Han Solo and Rogue One. So a lot of Star Wars coming our way. But in terms of this central trilogy, people are going to be hyped for this because they want to see the conclusion to what I consider probably the most uneven trilogy. You know, I haven't seen this one yet, obviously, but so far it's very uneven because Force Awakens set the groundwork for a pretty great trilogy. And then even though I like The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson just pretty much gave a big middle finger to the fans and the Star Wars mythos as a whole. So I'm kind of curious personally to see what is going to be going on with this trailer. I hope that J.J. Abrams found a way to tie Force Awakens into The Last Jedi and then carry it on into this one. So we're going to just jump into it right now. Let's not go away. Where is Bay?
We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now.
Is that Luke? Luke Skywalker?
But this is your fight.
Every generation. Is she back on Jakku? This looks a lot like Jakku. Is this some type of... Is that Kylo? Showdown with Kylo? Okay. Quick move. Okay. We could have stabbed him, but... Alright. And, is that the Death Star? Yo, was that the Emperor? Was that Emperor Palpatine? Oh, the Rise of Skywalker. Okay, okay, okay. First thing, let's hear that laugh again. I am 95% sure that that was Emperor Palpatine laughing. That brings a lot of stuff, okay? So the last 30 seconds of this trailer, maybe 15 seconds, is the most telling. What I want to talk about first is, was that the Death Star that I was looking at when Rey was looking over this Grand Canyon looking thing? It looked a lot like that little groove. You know how like the Death Star is a circle and then there's that little groove where the cannon kind of shoots out of? It looked like that was the part of that cannon. So if that is the Death Star, that means that that planet that it's on is actually Endor. So are they making some type of return to Endor? It's very curious as to why they will put those two things in such close proximity to the laugh of Emperor Palpatine, if that is the laugh of the Emperor. Are they trying to say that, you know, the whole team just goes back to Endor and they find Emperor Palpatine, who's just kind of been chilling on the planet since he's been defeated? I don't know. Like, just that last 15 seconds really has my mind just kind of like working on so many different levels. But there's a lot to look at in this trailer. First, you got Rey just kind of like training and doing her thing. And I don't know if she gets separated from the group and she just trains like this. It's hard to tell what's going on there, but it's a cool shot. You get the old gang back together, and the old gang, I pretty much mean the new gang from, you know, Force Awakens, and that pretty much consisting of Poe, Finn, and Rey. These guys are finally back together after actually kind of like spending a lot of time apart in The Last Jedi, so it's actually good to see those three back together. Maybe in this we'll get to see a lot more interaction between Rey and Poe. And there's also a scene where Rey is interacting with Leia, and you know, the only time that they really interacted was at the end of Force Awakens and at the end of The Last Jedi. So maybe we'll see like where that relationship kind of goes after that. What I really want from this movie is that I like to say that this new trilogy of Star Wars movies is the most uneven because The Force Awakens set the groundwork for this new trilogy. And then Rian Johnson comes in, and in my opinion, he makes a good movie, but the fact that he just kind of did a big middle finger by like throwing away as many plot lines as possible and then creating new ones just for the sake of subverting the expectations, it kind of left this trilogy in a weird place when it comes to the conclusion, because now I don't know if they're gonna follow Force Awakens, I don't know if they're gonna follow The Last Jedi, or it's hard to tell if they can even merge the two. So J.J. Abrams, who's directing, is gonna have a big task trying to manage those things all together. It just feels like they're just showing a lot of like action shots and kind of like your favorite characters are back together, just trying to say, hey, we know Rian Johnson kind of messed up the plan a little bit, but here we are like ready to rectify it. You get like a couple of callbacks to the original trilogy as well, which is what this sequel trilogy has been doing a lot. You get the medal that I'm guessing that was the medal that Luke and Han won at the end of A New Hope. You get Lando Calrissian back, which is weird because when I think about it, each part in this trilogy had like at least one of the characters from the original trilogy, one of the main ones. Force Awakens had Han Solo. Last Jedi had Luke and Leia. The Rise of Skywalker has Lando. They should pretty much call this movie The Rise of Calrissian, because from what I've seen, if they're going to give him the same amount of screen time as they gave Han and Luke Skywalker in the previous movies, then this is pretty much his movie. Something that was really cool was like we heard Luke's voice. So what I'm speculating is that Luke will come back as a Force ghost to talk to Rey and still teach her the ways of the Jedi. So maybe this like picks up a couple years after The Last Jedi, and we have the Force ghost of Luke possibly training Rey along that time gap. And so when he says that we've passed on everything that we know, then that first scene is kind of like Rey realizing that she is a full-fledged Jedi Knight now. And it's curious that he says we, so wait a minute. So when he says we, does that mean that Yoda, Luke, and maybe Obi-Wan Force Ghost in it and teaching Rey the ways of the Jedi? If this movie could open with a trio or just like an army of Force Ghosts training Rey, I think that'll be pretty awesome. Maybe the whole Jedi Council, including Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson could come back as a Force Ghost. I'm just speculating, and pretty badly at that, because that's probably the least likely thing that's gonna happen. Still, Samuel Jackson, Force Ghost, just bring him in, reshoots. You can make it happen. You can make it happen. There's a scene where like Kylo Ren is just kind of like this brawler with his lightsaber. I mean, usually a Jedi or a Sith would just kind of cut people down with the lightsabers. He is straight up body slamming people. Like, yeah, I could do it, but I'm just gonna not. This is a pretty good trailer for sure. It's just that I have no idea what this means for the overall story. I don't know how it's gonna conclude. Does conclude with the Emperor making a surprise appearance as the main villain of the entire trilogy. We don't know. Maybe he's in Kylo Ren's ear this entire time. Clearly that might be the Death Star, so they may be making a return full circle to the end of Return of the Jedi, which kind of in a poetic way, it's like Return of the Jedi and then Rise of Skywalker. Because Rise of Skywalker, it kind of implies that somebody either is a Skywalker, obviously Leia is a Skywalker and Ben Solo is a Skywalker, but that implies a bunch of different things. Ben Solo obviously is a Skywalker, so maybe he returns to the light side. One can make an argument that the titles of the movies, the colors anyway, of each one, The Force Awakens being yellow, Last Jedi being red, and then blue being The Rise of the Skywalker, that can kind of be a part of Ben Solo's arc. You know, he's kind of like this neutral figure with the yellow. You know, he's kind of conflicted. He doesn't know where he wants to be, so therefore he's coming out as yellow. And then The Last Jedi, it's red, which means it's his full descent into darkness. And then Rise of a Skywalker, Ben Solo actually being a Skywalker, being blue, he might return to the light side. So maybe that's what this movie is going to tackle. And then again, maybe Rey could be a Skywalker. I know they said that her parents are probably junkers, but Kylo Ren could have been lying to get her on his side. So we have no idea what Rise of Skywalker could be, especially since Luke ended up dying and the last movie was called The Last Jedi. You know, when I think about it, it might be a J.J. Abrams' big FU to Rian Johnson, because Rian Johnson was trying to say this is The Last Jedi, let the past die. But then Rise of Skywalker is effectively bringing the past back. So maybe he's just saying like, no, don't let the past die. People love the past. Keep it here. Rise of the Skywalker. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very curious as to where this whole thing is going to go. But hey, I'm excited for it. Have you seen the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker trailer? Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And also hit that little bell so you can get notifications to these videos. Guys, as always, I'm a dude in his room talking to a camera. Love you, and I'm out.